Well, Durham is about to drop a bombshell on the FBI's head. And in fact, this will not be the first time he's done it. Not only that, but this is happening around the same time that the FBI is creating what I'm going to dub their new target and enemy list. But before I get into it, check out preparewithlisa.com. Are you ready to experience food shortages? If not, now is the time to absolutely be prepared, especially in light of the inflation, the gas prices, and the shipping supply chain crisis. The great news is they have an amazing special there right now. By far, this is the best special that they've ever had, at least on my channel, and you can get $250 off of their 3-month emergency food supply kit right now. So check it out at preparewithlisa.com and don't be a victim of disaster. All right, so let's dive into this new enemy list that is being put together by our very own FBI and DOJ. Take a look at this article here on justthenews.com. A new enemies list, ? Conservative Trump allies targeted by the Department of Justice. It goes on. The Department of Justice has come under intense scrutiny for allegedly weaponizing federal law enforcement to target allies of former President Donald J. Trump and critics of the Biden administration, stroking fears of a politicized two-tiered justice system riddled with double standards. And it absolutely is. It goes on. In recent weeks, lawmakers, legal experts, and whistleblowers have decried the department for appearing to have an anti-conservative bias and using unnecessary strong-arm tactics against those deemed political opponents. The trend prompted longtime Republican David Bossie, the former deputy campaign manager of Trump, to declare on Tuesday that it appeared America had another enemies list, just like the one made famous by Richard Nixon half a century ago. The enemies list contains one name, Donald J. Trump, Bossie told Just the News, Not Noise TV show. And then secondly on the list is every single supporter of Donald J. Trump. Now, let me give you just an example of why he believes this. And actually, I don't necessarily disagree with them because they have to have some kind of list, seeing that there is an over excessive nature by the FBI and DOJ to go after anyone and everyone who supports Donald J. Trump. And of course, Donald Trump himself, which was just proven and more solidified that the FBI has been weaponized by their invading of, well, the former president of the United States home, Donald J. Trump. But here's what we're talking about here. Here's just a couple people that have been raided, all associated with Donald J. Trump. Let's start first with his lawyers, right? Take a look here. And here we are, New York Times. FBI raids office of Trump's longtime lawyer, Michael Cohen. Trump calls it a disgrace. Not only him, Rudy Giuliani. And this is on rawstory.com. Rudy Giuliani has been told that he is the target of a criminal election interference probe, according to a report. And not just him, but also, well, the people who were affiliated with him. Here's an NYP. Feds seize electronics from D.C. area home of Rudy Giuliani linked attorney. And in fact, I believe there was 2 attorneys. Not only them, but CNN.com, John Eastman searched and had phones seized by federal agents last week. So here we have quite a few of his attorneys being targeted, but not just his attorneys, also people who were well associated with his campaign. Here's GatewayPundit.com breaking: Steve Bannon arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Update related to the border wall: smells like deep state hit. Not just that, but Steve Bannon also got here on Just the News. Jury finds Bannon guilty on both contempt of Congress charges. And by the way, no one on the Democrat side has been charged with any contempt of Congress. Nope, that's just reserved for us. This is not being done the same way on the Democrat side. But not just him. Let's go on a little more. Ex-Trump organization official Alan Weisselberg expected to plead guilty in tax case. Here we have Fox News. Former Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos sentenced to 14 days in prison for lying to the FBI. Now, how many lies have we heard from Hillary Clinton and her lawyers and the whole 9 yards to the FBI and Congress? Quite a bit, but yet zero, nada, nil. zilch that's just reserved for Trump and his supporters. Here we have FBI discuss interviewing Michael Flynn to get him to lie and get him fired. Handwritten note shows. Obviously, they went after Michael Flynn in the very beginning. He ended up in jail. All of this targeted attacks by specifically the Biden administration and the FBI. Carter Page files $75 million lawsuit against the FBI, DOJ, and others over unlawful surveillance. He had to literally go after them for surveillancing him. Again, this is Carter Page, affiliated with Trump's campaign. Here we have Paul Manafort's home raided by the FBI agents in July. And then we have business and politics, FBI cuffs and shackles advisor Peter Navarro arrested for not bowing to J6 committee. It's terrorism, it's coercion. I can't tell you how many times that Democrats have been in front and not responding to questions by congressional leaders, and nothing happens to any of them. In fact, they've lied multiple times, James Comey being one of those. But not only that, Trump's friends are also targeted. We know Roger Stone. FBI carries out the raid on Roger Stone's home. Not just Stone, Trump ally billionaire, by the way, Tom Barrack, accused of secretly altering GOP platform to shield shoddy ties to 9/11 hijackers. CNN, Fed search home of Jeffrey Clark, former DOJ official who pushed Trump's false election fraud claims. New York Post representative Scott Perry says FBI seized his cell phone 1 day after Trump Mar-a-Lago raid. So here's all the people that are affiliated with the president of the United States, being his advisors, being his lawyers, being part of his campaign. And as you can see, there's at least well over a dozen, maybe 20, and counting, by the way, because I'm pretty sure I've missed some in that. But this screams that the FBI, the DOJ have a list of some sort. Top of the name list, Donald Trump. After that, all of his campaign managers, all the people directly associated with them. And then third, all the people who just support him. And by the way, some of his supporters have been harassed as well. Let's take a look at that. Here we have FoxNews.com, FBI raids home of Project Veritas James O'Keefe as part of an investigation into Ashley Biden's stolen diary. Remember that? Since when does the FBI go after a news organization over a diary? Good question. But not just him. Here we have Just the News. Progressive lawmakers often unwitting path for January 6 prisoners. So here we also have January 6. All the people involved with January 6, I believe they went after 900 people. Don't quote me on that number. Or something close to that nature, well above and beyond, because not all those people even walked into the Capitol, and they are getting more than a slap on the wrist or put in jail and immediately let go, like what happened with BLM and Antifa and all these riots over the summer. Nope. They're getting the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst punishment. I think that the Biden administration is really sending a message here. I think it's more than obvious. They have a list, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not alone. And not only that, but they're going after Trump, his supporters, and the whole 9 yards. And even January 6th. And speaking of, it's not just January 6th and people associated. How about parents with the same beliefs as the president, as the former president, Donald J. Trump, just simply for being conservatives, which is likely makes you a Trump supporter. Here we go. The Biden administration's war on parents continues. Remember when the FBI and DOJ, or more specifically the DOJ, went after parents saying, hey, let's put them on terrorist list if they speak against critical race theory. Well, Biden's Department of Education has taken it a step further. The Department of Education announced recently that it has created a National Parents and Families Engagement Council. Sounds beautiful. The purpose of which is to ostensibly to help parents and families engage with their local schools and districts. It all sounds very appealing until one examines the details. First, the list of council members reads like a who's who of leftist group. Al Sharpton's National Action Network Council counts among the participants, as do several other groups affiliated with the Black Lives Matter, which supports the abolition of the nuclear family. The department has said the council will reflect the diversity of the education system, but a reported 80% of the leaders of the council groups have donated to Joe Biden or the Democrats. Doesn't really seem quite honest and diverse now, does it? In addition, the group has apparently met in secret, in violation of transparency requirements under the Federal Advisory Committee Act. As a result, a group of parent organizations has had to sue the Biden administration just to learn more about this secretive left-wing cabal masquerading as an engagement council. Amen. And that's exactly what it is. They are masquerading as something that they are not. Hey, speaking of this list, earlier on, by the way, restrictedrepublic.com, if you guys aren't on that, get on that. Right now, you can get it for $3.99 a month for the entire first year. We are in a recession, so I'm offering an amazing rate on that. But right now, you're going to want to see the info we put out. You really want to know what's going on. You've got to get there. You can see some of the information. We do exclusive content out. But that said, I have been covering in detail the DHS FBI Joint Bulletin, who, by the way, Project Veritas had leaked this out. And this is on Post Millennial. Project Veritas releases the Biden DHS FBI Intelligence Bulletin, which smears conservatives as domestic violent extremists after the raid on Mar-a-Lago, and it absolutely does. It says basically tells the FBI and DOJ and law enforcement, be ready, because after the raid, his supporters, without saying the word his supporters, there's a lot of angry people about this, and they're very mad about the raid on Donald Trump. So, let's put out a terrorist threat list and, make it a thing. But again, never have they ever put out any terrorist warning after, Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court and the leftists went haywire. And we're talking 40 of our pregnancy centers have been attacked and vandalized, and not one arrest, at least as of a couple of weeks ago. Not one arrest. Well, the good news is, I believe that Durham is making a little headway against the FBI, and I believe that he is going to drop a big bombshell on the FBI. Take a look here, and I found this on the RepublicanBrief.com. After arrests and indictments, special counsel John Durham's next target revealed, and this is very current, August 16th, 2022. And here's what the article reads. Special counsel John Durham is preparing to go after the FBI. According to investigative journalist John Solomon, the founder of Just the News, and that would be characteristic of Durham, since he has actually done that exact same thing in the past and has punished the FBI for corruption before. Now, I want to hit the pause button right there because I want to get into a little bit of detail about what John Durham has done in the past to give us all hope that he is going to really go after the FBI in the future. Now, let me just give you the short version because I don't want to keep you here for hours on end. But the FBI framed 4 completely innocent men of murder, destroyed their family for years on end. In fact, this secret was kept for over 30 years. And this particular secret was kept by not only the upper ranks of the FBI, but so much so that it went all the way to the FBI director. Well, John Durham, 30 years later, finally was able to give some in their families, or their descendants, if you will, some reprieve when he exposed the entire corrupt facade within the FBI. So, that said, I have hope that this is absolutely going to happen again, and I am really looking forward to him doing something, and I'm hoping that Just the News, John Solomon is correct. But let's go back to that article because John Solomon expands a little more. Take a look here. And it goes on to say, Solomon spoke about Durham's probe into the Trump-Russia witch hunt and predicted what he believes Durham's next move might be. Martin Walsh wrote for the Conservative Brief. Russian-born analysis Ihor Dezhenko, a key source for the unverified Steele dossier that alleged ties between Donald J. Trump's campaign in Russia, was arrested by federal agents last year as part of Durham's investigation. Solomon explained that he believed Durham is dealing with two buckets. In one bucket, there are the last two indictments against officials who were connected to Hillary Clinton and their plan to feed the FBI false information about Trump-Russia conspiracies. Solomon said the other bucket focuses on the FBI and whether agents knowingly misled the FISA court to obtain warrants to spy on members of Trump's 2016 campaign. The FBI should never have started the investigation, and I think that's where Durham's investigation is focused right now. So there you have it. I really hope that we can speed up the process. I don't want it spanning out years and years and years like we have seen, especially in light of all the corruption that is now happening with the FBI. And speaking of corruptions, take a look at what Representative Jordan just came out with, and this is on Newsmax.com. Representative Jordan said he's now heard from 14 FBI whistleblowers, 14 of them. If this doesn't light a fire under somebody's keister, I don't know what will, but we better get moving on this. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Havens signing out.